What is an epic? Epic films have large scale, sweeping scope, and spectacle. The term is slightly ambiguous, sometimes designating a film genre, and at other times simply big-budget films. Often focused on a heroic character, an epic's ambitious nature helps to set it apart from other genres, such as the period piece or adventure film. The scope can be encompassed the way the film is shot, the number of cast members and extras, or themes presented. Also, the Western may be defined as an epic if the length of the film runs more than 150 minutes.
Each different era captures the thrilling.
Epic Westerns. What I have done today is use some simple ways to define the Westerns for today's purpose. I'll start with Westerns that run more than 150 minutes. Then I will add Western miniseries. I will end with a summary of some Westerns I consider to be epic in their own way. If you like this video, take a look at my channel for many more. The link is in the description. Let me know your favourites in the comments. Let's get into it. How the West Was Won, 1962. Director Henry Hathaway. Runtime 164 minutes. Henry Hathaway, who directs 3 of the 5 chapters involving the same family, as well as John Ford and George Marshall, and narrated by Spencer Tracy. The film features an ensemble cast formed by many cinema icons and newcomers. Widely considered one of Hollywood's greatest epics, receiving widespread critical acclaim and was a box office success, grossing $50 million on a budget of $15 million. At the 36th Academy Awards, it earned 8 nominations, including Best Picture, and won 3 for Best Story and Screenplay, written directly for the screen, Best Sound and Best Film Editing. In 1997, it was selected for preservation by the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant.
Of history, John Wayne as General William Tecumseh Sherman, Henry Morgan as General Ulysses S. Grant, George Peppard is Zeb Rawlings, who brought the law to the West, and Carolyn Jones portrays Julie Rawlings, whose courage matched that of her fighting husband. And there were the men who brought the railroad, like Mike King, portrayed by Richard Widmark. Colorful panorama of the glorious frontier, with all its reckless adventure and its awesome violence. With its spirited romance, its lusty Old West fun, and its breathtaking action spectacle, the most fabulous film ever conceived from any standpoint.
Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968. Director Sergio Leone. Runtime 166 minutes. An epic spaghetti western, stars Henry Fonda, cast against type as the villain, Charles Bronson as his nemesis, Jason Robards as a bandit, and Claudia Cardinale as a newly widowed homesteader. The widescreen cinematography was by Tonino Delli Colli, and the acclaimed film score was by Ennio Morricone. Sergio Leone originally offered the role of harmonica to Clint Eastwood, but he turned it down, as he was no longer interested in working for Leone. James Coburn was also approached for the role of harmonica, but wanted too much money. Charles Bronson had previously turned down the role of the man with no name in A Fistful of Dollars, 1964, because he thought the script was terrible. The role of Colonel Douglas Mortimer in For a Few Dollars More, 1965, because he thought the script was too similar to the previous movie, and Leone, hoping it would be third time lucky to work with him, had then offered him the choice of playing either Angel Eyes or Tuco in The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, 1966. Bronson declined both because he had already signed up to The Dirty Dozen, 1967, which started filming in Britain in the summer of 1966. Dances with Wolves, 1990. Director Kevin Costner. Runtime 181 minutes. a western starring, directed and produced by Kevin Costner in his feature directorial debut.
Sir, I'm here at my own request.
Costner developed the
I've always
film
wanted to see the
with an
frontier.
initial budget of $15 million. Much of the dialogue is spoken in Lakota,
about
with
Indian?
English subtitles. The film received favourable reviews from critics and audiences, who praised Costner's directing and performances, screenplay, score, cinematography, and production values. It was a box office hit, grossing $424.2 million worldwide, making it the fourth highest grossing film of 1990. Nominated for 12 Academy Awards at the 63rd Academy Awards and won 7, including Best Picture, Best Director for Costner, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Film Editing, Best Cinematography, Best Original Score, and Best Sound Mixing. The film also won the Golden Globe Award for the Best Motion Picture, Drama. It is one of only 4 westerns to win the Oscar for Best Picture. The other 3 were Cimarron, 1931, Unforgiven, 1992, and No Country for Old Men, 2007. Because of the film's enormous success and sympathetic treatment of the Native Americans, the Lakota Nation adopted Kevin Costner as an honorary member, starring Kevin Costner, Mary McDonnell, Graham Greene, Rodney Grant. The Big Country, 1958. Director, William Wyler. Runtime, 166 minutes. A western starring Gregory Peck, Gene Simmons, Carol Baker, Charlton Heston, and Burl Ives. The supporting cast features Charles Bickford and Chuck Connors. Filmed in Technicolor and Technorama. The picture was based on a serialized magazine novel, Ambush at Blanco Canyon, by Donald Hamilton, and was co-produced by Wyler and Peck. The opening title sequence was created by Saul Bass. Burl Ives won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his performance, as well as the Golden Globe Award. The film was also nominated for an Academy Award for the musical score, composed by Jerome Moross. The film is one of the few in which Heston plays a major supporting role, rather than the lead. Then US President Dwight D. Eisenhower gave the movie 4 consecutive showings at the White House, and called it simply the best film ever made. My #1 favourite film.
There ain't one of us left. Now I don't hold mine so precious, so if you want to start. Ready! Aim!
Wyatt Earp, 1994. Director, Lawrence Kasdan. Runtime, 190 minutes. The film covers the lawman of the same name's life, from an Iowa farm boy to a field marshal, to the feud in Tombstone, Arizona, that led to the OK Corral gunfight, starring Kevin Costner in the title role. It features an ensemble supporting cast that includes Gene Hackman, Mark Harmon, Michael Madsen, Bill Pullman, Dennis Quaid, Isabella Rossellini, Tom Sizemore, Jo Beth Williams, Ma Wingham, and Jim Caviezel in one of his earliest roles. Released 6 months after Tombstone, also about Earp and the OK Corral gunfight. Unlike Tombstone, it was a box office failure and received mixed to negative reviews, with criticism for its 3-hour length, although its production values were praised. The real Wyatt Earp's 6-shooter was loaned by the Earp Museum and used in some scenes during a number of close-ups. Dennis Quaid lost over 30 pounds to play Doc Holliday, who suffered from tuberculosis. Gene Hackman received 3rd billing and is named on all posters, although he has less than 10 minutes of screen time.
Nothing counts so much as blood. The rest are just strangers.
Little Big Man, 1970. Director, Arthur Penn. Runtime, 147 minutes. I gave this a 3-minute pass. Stars Dustin Hoffman, Chief Dan George, Faye Dunaway, Martin Bolson, Jeff Corrie, and Richard Mulligan. The film follows the life of a white man who was raised by members of the Cheyenne Nation during the 19th century and then attempts to reintegrate with American pioneer society. Although broadly categorized as a Western or an epic, the film encompasses several literary film genres, including comedy, drama, and adventure. It parodies typical tropes of the Western genre, contrasting the lives of white settlers and Native Americans throughout the progression of the boy's life. Little Big Man is an early revisionist Western in its sympathetic depiction of Native Americans, and its exposure of the villainous practices of the United States cavalry. The revision uses elements of satire and tragedy to examine prejudice and injustice. Little Big Man is an anti-establishment film of the period, indirectly protesting America's involvement in the Vietnam War by portraying the United States Armed Forces negatively. The role of Old Lodgeskins was initially offered to Marlon Brando, who turned it down. Other sources claim Arthur Penn's first choice for the role was Sir Laurence Olivier. When that didn't work out, Richard Boone was slated for the role. Then Boone backed out at the last minute. Chief Dan George was given the part and earned an Oscar nomination.
Am I still in this world?
Yes, Grandpa.
Hey. I was afraid of that.
Horizon, 2024. Director, Kevin Costner. Runtime, 181 minutes. The first installment in the titular film series and features an ensemble cast consisting of Costner, Sienna Miller, Sam Worthington, and Giovanni Ribisi, with Jenna Malone, Abby Lee, Michael Rooker, Danny Houston, Luke Wilson, Isabel Furman, Jeff Fay, Will Patton, Tatanka Means, Owen Crow-Shu, Ella Hunt, and Jamie Campbell-Bower in supporting roles. Chapter 1 premiered at the 77th Cannes Film Festival on May 19, 2024, and was theatrically released in the United States on June 28, 2024. The film received mixed reviews from critics and grossed $34 million worldwide, becoming a box office disappointment. Despite the film's poor reception, it will continue with Chapter 2, which will have its world premiere at the 81st Venice International Film Festival, and is scheduled to be released at an unspecified date in late 2024. Chapter 3 started principal photography in May 2024, while Chapter 4 is in development. Kevin Costner invested $38 million of his own money into the movie. Note, Kevin Costner stated it was more in the $70 million range. Gone with the Wind, 1939. Director, Victor Fleming. Runtime, 221 minutes. An epic historical romance film adapted from the 1936 novel by Margaret Mitchell, produced by David O. Selznick, set in the American South against the backdrop of the Civil War and the Reconstruction era. The film tells the story of Scarlett O'Hara, Vivian Lee, the strong-willed daughter of a Georgia plantation owner, following her romantic pursuit of Ashley Wilkes, Leslie Howard, who is married to his cousin, Melanie Hamilton, Olivia de Havilland, and her subsequent marriage to Rhett Butler, Clark Gable. It received generally positive reviews upon its release on December 15, 1939. While the casting was widely praised, the long running time received criticism. At the 12th Academy Awards, Gone with the Wind received 10 Academy Awards, 8 competitive, 2 honorary, from 13 nominations, including wins for Best Picture, Best Director, Fleming, Best Adapted Screenplay, posthumously awarded to Sidney Howard, Best Actress, Lee, and Best Supporting Actress, Hattie McDaniel, becoming the first African American to win an Academy Award. It set records for the total number of wins and nominations at the time.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Heaven's Gate, 1980. Director, Michael Cimino. Runtime, 219 minutes. A Western, written and directed by Michael Cimino, starring Chris Christopherson, Christopher Walken, John Hurt, Sam Waterston, Brad Dourif, Isabel Huppert, Jeff Bridges, and Joseph Cotton, and loosely based on the Johnson County War. It revolves around a dispute between land barons and European immigrants in Wyoming in the 1890s. In 1870, two young men, Jim Averill and Billy Irvine, graduated from Harvard College. The Reverend Doctor speaks to the graduates on the association of the cultivated mind with the uncultivated and the importance of education. Irvine, the class orator, follows this with his opposing irreverent views. A celebration is then held, after which the male students serenade the women present, including Averill's girlfriend. Tom Noonan called this movie one of the worst experiences of his life. He claimed that Michael Cimino abused the actors, actresses and the crew, including holding a loaded gun to Noonan's head during a dispute. Here are a couple of miniseries that I think come under the epic category. Centennial, 1978. Directors Harry Falk, Paul Krasny, Bernard McEvety, Virgil W. Vogel. Runtime 1,256 minutes. A 12-episode American television miniseries that aired from October 1978 to February 1979, and again from September 1980 to October 1980. The miniseries follows the fictional history of Centennial, Colorado, from 1795 to the 1970s, based on the 1974 novel of the same name by James A. Michener, and was produced by John Wilder. With a runtime of 26 hours and a $25 million budget, it was one of the most longest miniseries ever, and the most expensive television show in history. It employed 4 directors and 5 cinematographers, and featured over 100 speaking parts.
Don't miss this major television event.
Lonesome Dove, 1989. Director Simon Windsor. Runtime 384 minutes. A Western adventure miniseries directed by Simon Windsor. A 4-part adaptation of the 1985 novel of the same name by Larry McMurtry, and is the first installment in the Lonesome Dove series. The novel is based upon a screenplay by Peter Bogdanovich and McMurtry. The miniseries stars an ensemble cast headed by Robert Duvall as Augustus McRae and Tommy Lee Jones as Woodrow Call. The series was originally broadcast from February 5 to 8, 1989, drawing a huge viewing audience, earning numerous awards, and reviving both the television western and the miniseries. By the show's end, it had earned huge ratings and virtually revamped the entire 1989 to 1990 television series. A favourite with audiences, as well as critics, Lonesome Dove garnered many honours and awards. At the 1989 Emmy Awards, the miniseries had 18 nominations and 7 wins, including one for director Simon Windsor. Lonesome Dove also won 2 Golden Globes for Best Miniseries and Best Actor in a Miniseries, Robert Duvall, on a $20 million budget. Here are some more westerns I think you will agree belong in this category. Jeremiah Johnson, 1972. Runtime 108 minutes.
Betting on forgetting all the troubles that have been different, but you oftentimes will find that the story doesn't always go the way you had in mind.
The Outlaw Josie Wales, 1976. Runtime 135 minutes.
Not quite alone.
He lives by the gun. He lives by his word.
Open Range, 2003. Runtime 139 minutes.
You the one killed our friend?
That's right. I shot the boy too, and I enjoyed it.
Tombstone, 1993, runtime 130 minutes.
Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer, Bill Paxton, Jason Priestley, Sam Elliott, Dana Delaney, Michael Bean, Powers Booth, Charlton Heston.
The Big Trail, 1930, runtime 122 minutes.
What I aim to do.
But you can't do this awful thing. Take 2 lives.
Frontier justice.
Don't go, Brett. Don't go.
The job I've got to finish.
Don't you see? It doesn't matter about them. I'm afraid for you. They'll kill you.
Stagecoach, 1939, runtime 96 minutes. Shane, 1953, runtime 108
elemental
minutes.
Forces, George Stevens has created deadly conflict.
I've heard about you.
What have you heard, Shane?
I've heard that you're a low-down Yankee liar.
The Magnificent Seven, 1960, runtime 128 minutes.
Where am I going to get the food for my men?
Buy it or grow it.
Or maybe even work for it. 7. Somehow I don't think you've solved my problem.
We deal in lead, friend. Solving your problems isn't our line.
True Grit, 1969, runtime 128 minutes.
No grit, Rooster Cogburn. Not much.
The Searchers, 1956, runtime 119 minutes.
From the thrilling pages of life rides a man you must fear and respect. A man whose unconquerable will and boundless determination carved a lusty, rough, and boisterous slice of history called The Searchers. It's John Wayne as Ethan Edwards, who had a rare kind of courage.
Red River, 1948, runtime 133 minutes. Thanks for your time today. I hope you liked the video. If you'd like to see more, go to my channel. The link is in the description. I appreciate your likes, shares and subscribers. Make sure you hit the notification button to see all my latest videos. I am Wrangler. Bye for now.
Interesting facts about famous people.